My son begged for $5, and I found out older kids were running a weekly tax at school. Parents, how does a school let this happen? My son Zachary came home with a black eye and said he fell on the stairs. It was the third time in a month, and he wouldn't meet my eyes when he said it. I called the office and got the same answer I always got. Kids play rough. Vice Principal Carter sounded annoyed. Zachary is small, she said. Maybe he should stop running to mommy. I started taking pictures of everything. Bruises, torn shirts, a backpack strap ripped clean off. His lunch money kept going missing, and he'd come home hungry because someone borrowed his meal card. I asked him what was happening, and he kept repeating the same lines like he'd practiced them. I'm clumsy. I walked into a door. It's nothing. Then one night, I found him on his bed with his piggy bank dumped out, crying while he counted coins. I need $5, Mom, he whispered. Please don't ask why. My stomach turned cold. The next day, another parent called me. My daughter saw what's happening to Zachary, she said. Can we meet? You need to know. We met after work, and her daughter, Grace, finally spoke. She said a group of older boys had a game they called Tax Day. Every Monday at lunch, they'd corner smaller kids in the bathroom or by the lockers. $5, they'd say, like it was normal. If a kid didn't pay, they'd get shoved into lockers or slammed into the wall. If a kid told a teacher, the boys would find them later and make it worse. Grace said everyone knew to avoid that hallway on Mondays, and teachers acted like they didn't notice. Zachary had been paying for months. Birthday money, allowance, even taking bills from my purse when he got desperate. When he ran out, that's when the bruises got bad enough that he had to start making up falls. That night, he tried to hide money in his sock drawer like it was some big secret, and he flinched when I raised my voice at the dog. I went back to the school with my photos and asked to see the hallway camera footage. The principal didn't look surprised. He leaned back and said, "We don't want to ruin boys' futures over middle school mistakes." Then he added, "There are star athletes. State playoffs are coming." He offered to move Zachary's locker and keep an eye out, like that fixed anything. I stared at him and said, "So my kid is the price you pay for a trophy?" He told me to calm down. Vice Principal Carter gave this smile and said, "Maybe teach Zachary to be tougher." That's when something snapped in me. If they wouldn't do their job, I'd do it for them. I started calling other parents and asking one simple question. Has your kid been asked for money at school? At first, people hesitated. Then the stories poured out. Missing cash. Kids begging their parents not to call the school because it'll get worse. One parent showed me doctor papers from an ER visit after their son got shoved down on the playground. Another said their kid couldn't sleep and had started having panic attacks before school. And every time someone complained, the school brushed it off or blamed the smaller kids. Over 2 weeks, I talked to 12 families. It wasn't random. It was a system, and it had been going on for 2 years. The older boys knew exactly who to pick. They went after kids on free lunch, kids whose parents worked long hours, and kids whose parents didn't speak English well. They picked the kids who didn't have someone ready to storm into the office. I made a folder so thick it wouldn't close. Photos, dates, names, written statements, doctor notes, and recordings of my calls where the school dismissed me. Then I took it to a lawyer friend and asked, "What is this legally?" He flipped through it, got quiet, and said, "This is a shakedown, and the injuries are serious. The school ignoring it is a huge problem." The next morning, we walked into the district attorney's office and handed them everything. An investigator listened, asked questions, and kept repeating, "They knew?" When I played the recording of Vice Principal Carter calling me Mommy and waving it off, his face changed. A week later, news vans were outside the school, and the people who told me to calm down wouldn't return calls. The school board called an emergency meeting, and the room was packed with angry parents holding proof. By the end of the night, the district announced the 4 boys were removed from school, and the principal was fired. When I picked Zachary up the next day, nobody was waiting in that bathroom hallway anymore.